Welcome from me to Digital Horizons, a whole day showcasing the opportunities, challenges and debates about the role of digital in our world. I'm delighted to be able to kick things off with a short presentation about what we in Arup have learnt and think about some of these issues. First, we know the built environment challenge is growing and profound. Over the next couple of decades, the world's population will rise to 10 billion, and we need to meet their needs in an equitable fashion. Their needs for habitation, their needs for energy, for water, for transportation. Within that, 2.5 billion more people will be living in cities that we need to plan, design and build. In other parts of the world, most of the buildings that we need have already been built. Another challenge for us to face. And of course, we need to do all of this while we're living within planetary boundaries, particularly the planetary boundaries of carbon and nature plus. So we're going to need to meet the needs of more people in more equitable ways, while at the same time making sure we preserve our planet. Now, the good news is that there are some great new and existing digital technologies that can help us with this task. And in Arup, we think there are 6 really significant ones that are going to be useful for us. The power of artificial intelligence and machine learning, allowing us to explore big data in new ways and provide new insights about the challenges we face. The proliferation of data that's coming from sensors, drones and satellite technology, offering new opportunities and new frontiers for our understanding. The ability to develop and deploy digital twins for both simulation and optimization of operations and asset management. The power of the Internet of Things, 5G networks and cloud computing in providing a modern, scalable technology infrastructure to the built environment. The ability of generative design to use algorithms to design things in different ways and better ways than we've been able to do before. And the onset of robotics and automation as new tools, new solutions, new opportunities for us. These 6 technologies, we believe, are very powerful and offer us great opportunities in our work going forward. And on the back of those, we already know that digital can critically enable the pathway to net zero, to climate resilience and to nature. For example, the ability to use generative algorithms to design buildings in different ways than we've been able to previously and optimize a whole range of complex factors to improve outcomes. In some cases, reducing embodied carbon by up to 50% over a more traditional design. Or indeed, using the power of data and analytics and structural modelling to improve significantly the climate resilience of buildings portfolios, with an opportunity cost of perhaps $3 trillion of savings and improvement across our building stock around the world. Or the ability to use Earth observation data to both map and improve biodiversity net gain, so contributing significantly to Nature Plus. So digital enabling net zero, climate resilience and Nature Plus, but also digital enhancing our ability to meet human needs. Our ability again to use satellite data to map cities and districts at a level we've never been able to do previously, to design nature-based solutions that bring the power of green, blue and grey infrastructure to improve the functioning, livability and biodiversity of our cities. Things like smart buildings platforms that allow us to take the enormous power of data inside our buildings to improve human well-being, improve occupancy, and also reduce significantly energy, perhaps by up to 30% of traditional buildings. And the ability to use digital twins to map, analyse, understand, and take us through the pathway of shifting towards a more decentralised, more resilient, more renewable energy system, absolutely vital to the future of our energy and absolutely vital to the future of the pathway to net zero. So digital tools, techniques, capabilities, also enhancing our ability to meet human needs. However, there's always a but. Firstly, when we step back and look at the pace of digitisation in the built environment, the truth is it's only just started. Compared to other sectors that are much more advanced, digitisation is at its early stages, for example, in something like construction. Now, the corollary of that is that we're going to need all to put in a huge effort and huge investment to create the kinds of technology, data and digital infrastructures that are going to be needed and on which many of our digital solutions are going to need to sit. And that's going to be costly over the next 10 to 20 years. Very hard to estimate how much, but tens, if not hundreds, if not more, billions of dollars are going to be required to be invested in the sector in order to create the fundamental platform of digitalisation that we need. Secondly, unlike other well-known technology sectors, particularly consumer technology sectors, where whole new companies or whole new technologies seem to come out of the blue and get implemented very quickly. Think of the current debate around something like ChatGPT. In our world, it's different. We live in a world of deep tech, where our solutions need to be rooted in engineering and science, where research takes time, where it takes time to develop the solutions, scale them, prove them, and make them available and usable in the world of buildings, construction, and infrastructure. And not only does it take more time, but it also means that the whole sector needs to work much more closely in partnership. Incumbent firms, startups, governments, regulators, financiers, venture capitalists, and of course consumers and clients, all are going to need to work together to pull through the deep tech solutions that our sector needs. And that's going to take longer. So there's no time to lose. We need to get cracking now. Third, our sector is really rather used to building new things rather than reusing what we've already got. But particularly with the rise of embodied carbon, we're going to need to treasure and preserve and reuse and refurbish what we already have compared to just thinking about greenfield and new build. Again, digital technologies have a great opportunity here. So, for example, in refurbishing and reusing existing buildings, a critical task is to understand their structural state. What's their state of repair? How have they deteriorated or otherwise over the 40 or 50 or 60 years of their design life? Digital tools, structural modelling, new forms of data, new forms of machine learning allow us to understand that in a way we weren't able to do previously. And that allows us to keep and reuse structures and buildings that otherwise we might have just written off. Likewise, when looking at the lifespan of a complex asset like a long-span bridge, we can again use the combination of structural engineering, data insights, and advanced simulations to properly understand how that infrastructure is performing and how it can be repaired and improved to last another 20 and 30 years. And that's an example that we Arab have done on a bridge, for example, in the Netherlands. And even for more recent assets like offshore wind, the same issues. How can we extend the life of what's already there? How can we optimize the maintenance of that asset and the operation of that asset? We can use machine learning, data and digital and insights to provide fresh understanding about how that can be done and how we can prolong the economic life of existing assets. Finally, though, so much change in our world is now being driven by public policy. The commitments that are being made internationally, regionally and nationally towards climate change, towards climate resilience, towards Nature Plus and other areas as well. These are the things that are driving change in our sector, whether it's the EU Green Deal or the American Inflation Reduction Act or the Chinese commitment to peak emissions in 2030 and reduce, or India's commitment to be net zero over the next decades. These are the commitments, the policies that are shaping our sector and providing the dynamic for change in our sector. But that means we're going to need to get better at working with governments, understanding governments, collaborating with public agencies and public policy to achieve the kind of changes we want to see. So the good news is that we have some fantastic digital technologies that we can use and deploy in our sector. The good news is that we know already they're helping us head towards net zero, improve climate resilience, get to Nature Plus, and provide services at scale for the population in the way we need. But there are challenges. We've barely started. We need to take time to develop the kinds of deep tech solutions that are needed. We're going to need to increasingly focus on what we've already got rather than what we need to build. And we as a sector are going to need to get ever better and work ever more closely with decision makers and public policy agencies. But if we do all of that, the opportunity is very significant. And whether it's harnessing data in the built environment, whether it's accelerating urban innovation, whether it's promoting climate resilience, whether it's moving towards net zero and a nature positive future, or whether it's designing and delivering the future transportation, all the topics for our sessions today, there is an enormous opportunity to harness digital to tackle the world's needs. Thank you, and I hope the day is a wonderful one.